How y'all doing? Welcome to the Blue Chip Podcast by fans for fans. This is your host Cody Potter. How y'all doing today? This is kind of a gloomy Tuesday. Bears Washington Monday night matchup wasn't what we expected. I appreciate you guys coming and checking out the podcast. You can like, comment, subscribe, ask any questions, whatever, anything you saw, leave it in the comments. I'll be interactive with you. We're going to discuss this game, man. It was kind of rough, man. Kind of rough to watch, man. The elements were there. Either way, I mean, there were goods, there were bads, ton of bads, ton of goods. I mean, flow of the football game, man. I'm not a really pessimistic kind of guy. I always look for growth points and things like that. Don't really like to ride the wave of wins and losses, man. It's nice to get a win. You look at this game, man. You know, you should be celebrating Victory Tuesday, but you turn the ball over 3 times, man. It's you're not going to get the win. So it is what it is. You know, there's a lot of things that happen over the course of a game, man. People that play football and know football, there's always plenty to point at, look at. There's never just one play. This is one of the things, man. You look around like social media, you look around like any episode that you're going to listen to, the talking heads and things like that. Even I do it. You look around and you see Chicago's 31st ranked run defense. Well, they're coming off of a bye, and any team that's going to be playing against us, well, they know we're trying to run the football. So you have Jaden Daniels, you have Bill, who kind of had his coming out game the week before against the Chargers, who are a tough run defense. But it's 1 week at a time, man. It's 1 week seasons. It really is, man. It's hard to assimilate anything that you're going to look forward to. You can say, oh, well, they got the 31st ranked run defense. You should be able to run the ball down the throat, run. Well, our run was ineffective. I mean, it just is what it is. I'm not saying there weren't good runs by Bill. There were good runs by Nicholson. It just didn't happen, man. They executed on the downs and distances that they needed to. They made plenty of mistakes. We made plenty of mistakes. The weather was rough. You're looking at the game as a whole. The biggest thing is, Dan Quinn always preaches ball is life. Ball is life, and that is true. You give up 3 turnovers to a team that's in the game, and it doesn't really matter what lead you have. You can go into the half, down 6 points. Even though it was it was basically 13-0 at one point. It's hard to win a game when you're down in that distance. That play right there, the Jaden turnover to Deebo Samuel. He's late on the read. It just is what it is. For as great as Daniels played in this game as a whole, you're late there. You're late there. This is a 10-point swing. That you instead of going in for 7 right there and tying the game up, you're down 0. They're driving the ball. They kick a field goal. You're down 10-0. It is what it is, man. You have these swings in the game. It's really hard to overcome turnovers. That was the first turnover. If you stop it there, if you leave the turnover there, rest of the game you play clean, you win this game handily. I mean, it's very obvious. Like I said, the other turnover in the game. You're driving down to take you got the 2-point lead. You're milking the clock. You're trying to march down, get another score. At least get a field goal to make it to where they have to score a touchdown. Didn't get it, so again, another 10-point swing. It doesn't matter if they score it doesn't matter if they kick the field goal, so they get, it makes it a 10-point swing. If they get a touchdown there, it's a 14-point swing, because realistically, you're driving down the field to get 7. So either way, you lose that 7-point opportunity, and you're giving them, whatever they get. A lot of people are going to look at the defense just because of the way that the game ended. But, I mean, realistically, I'm looking at all the fumbles, all the down, all the starting field positions that they had from turnovers. I mean, what do you expect in the NFL? I mean, even if we had the 85 Bears, it's really, really hard to give a team extra opportunities and then expect your defense to go out there time and time again to save your ass. And honestly, I mean, I thought the defense played pretty damn good outside of missed tackles and things like that, at certain situations, But hats off to the Bears, man. They ran a good scheme. They were opening up running lanes on their offensive front. They were gashing us, man. I mean, they did. As a whole, there were moments where the defense stepped up and they made their opportunities, and the offense shot themselves in the foot, and they put their defense back out in a precarious situation. It happens. there's, like I said, there was a lot of good to take away from the game. Even to come back into the game early, get the touchdown before the half. With the Chris Moore touchdown, I mean that was a hell of a play, man. And then you're driving down the field again to come back after halftime, get the Luke McCaffrey touchdown. You have a missed field goal, which is basically another turnover. And then Mikey dropped the pick late in the early in the fourth quarter when Caleb Williams, they were driving down, and it just, dude, you're leaving points on the board, man. You're missing opportunities. You just didn't execute. You didn't make the critical moment plays. They made the critical moment plays, and that's ultimately what happens, man. If you told me that the Bears were the better team last night collectively overall, okay, that's fine. I mean, they won. We're going to give it to them, man. Congratulations to the Bears. I mean, Ben Johnson's clearly, had an impact on this team. I could just see it just in the play calling. I could see it in Caleb Williams' confidence, man. Like, you give the hats off to him. They won the game. It's back to the drawing board. One thing that I will say about this team, man, that I'm really, really noticing with this team is, we're still young. Like, ultimately, like our young core going forward, it's Jaden Daniels, it's Mikey Samuel, it's Trey Amos, who had a good game, in my opinion. He was out there tackling and things like that, and that's something that I felt like he needed to clean up a little bit from the earlier games this season. It was something that he displayed as a college player, so it was something I expected him to clean up. But it's there's a lot of coulda, shoulda, wouldas in this game, man, and it just it sucks to it sucks to get the loss, man. Again, I'm not a pessimistic person, man. I always look at the moments and the things that you can teach, the things that you can work off of, and realistically, man, there's a lot to clean up with this team. One thing that I will say is, with Jaden Daniels, you're in every game. We have our quarterback position figured out. This is year 2 of a rebuild. There are no moral victories for me, so this is not something just to make it sound better. But the truth is without the quarterback play, we're not even in this game. Three turnovers 2 years ago, and you're looking at a 36-13, 17 game, and probably 12 of those points come off of garbage time. So no, dude, like I'm not gonna sit there and blow it up, but the biggest thing that I'm looking at from last year to this year, one, the ball was bouncing our way last year. The Hail Mary against the Bears. There were a lot of critical time moments last year where this team executed, and the biggest thing that I'm noticing from last year to this year, and dude, it's 2 different rosters. It's always going to be that way from one year to the next. It's always a completely different entity. Something about that team was clicking last year. Something about this team so far to this moment, what I will say is there's a really, really big adversity to victory. Success brings adversity. The thing that I've noticed with this team, and it's 50-50 for this year, it's win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. There's an adversity to success. And what I'm noticing about this team, and they had to do it last year. They did it at points last year. They lost 3 in a row. They found a way to right the ship. Last year they would win a game, and then they would lose a game. There is an adversity to success, and it's about being able to stack off of success and being able to stay focused in between. When I'm watching this team, I watch the clips from JP Finley. I watch the clips from all the media and things like that. After a victory, you see all the smiles in the locker room. It's really, really cool. As fans, we're hyped. We're going to beat the Bears. We're going to get ready to get on this run like we did last year. But, the truth is this isn't last year. It is what it is. You got to show up each and every week. There is an adversity to success, and so far this team has learned how to handle that. Am I concerned? I mean, to this point, you should have some concern. But am I? No. This team is going to be what this team is going to be. Ultimately, this team is not what I would consider what they were last year. I don't even think last year they were what they were last year. I think they played up. I think they had a lot of bounces go their way. I think they, had so much excitement from being a consummate loser, a consummate punching bag. Like, it's when you get punched in the face for year after year, when you're a player like Deron Payne, when you're a player like Jonathan Allen, when you're a player, that's been on this roster like Sam Cosmi, Terry McLaurin, and you've had no success, and you start to scratch that surface of having success and staying in games, you feed off of that, and it's a super super high energy. But like at the end of the day, this team played out of their mind and played very much higher than the expected win total. They played way over the caliber of the talent that they had collectively on that roster, and it's another year older with the veterans that came in here to kind of solidify the scheme and kind of help introduce the scheme to players and be kind of coaches on the field, coaches in the locker room type players like Zach Ertz and Bobby Wagner and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's really, really hard to mix and match your player and your personnel when you're putting your defense in these type of positions. So, you want to see Jordan McGee on the field a little bit more to add that speed, because you see Bobby Wagner, in positions where it's really costing us big yardage plays. But you can't do that when you're fumbling the ball into the red zone and you need Bobby Wagner in that presence and things like that. And you can't go into it systematically when they're putting 3 wide receivers on the field and an extra tight end and things like that. And that they're going to be in the pass game where you need Bobby Wagner to kind of solidify it just in case and kind of be the spy in the middle of the field. So it's hard to put an extra linebacker in the field when you need that extra corner and things like that. Plus, we run a lot of nickel because of Mikey Samerstill. He is one of our best players. Mikey had a miss on an interception. Man, it would have been 3rd week in a row with an interception. I mean, that's very rare, but he's the type of playmaker to make that play. 9 out of 10 times he does make the play. Yesterday, bat ball didn't go our way. So again, you can't get too high with it, man. You can't get too high. You can't get too low. There's a lot of things to clean up. Just like every loss that we've had from the season, even every win that we've had from the season, there's been a lot of things to clean up. Bill fumbling that football early in the game, man. Dude, it's him fighting for extra yards. You don't want to take that. That's one of his. That's his gold attribute, man. That's his superpower is fighting for extra yards, clearing guys off. But they get a hand and a hat on that football when you're spinning around in the pile. Ball goes down, you got to fumble that ball. You got to get on top of that ball if you're that offensive lineman. While he was there, he just didn't get the ball. So, it's just something missing. It's something missing from each and every facet of this game with this team. And it's one little thing here, it's one little thing there, but them things added together is why you lose this game. There's a lot of things to take away from this game that I thought were really big positives. Jalen Lane, if he scores on that play, man, that was a perfect play, just dialed up perfectly, man. He had Ramondre Stevenson on skates. That's the type of thing you want to see from the rookie, man, because that was something that I was talking about going into this week, about how I think Jalen Lane hasn't even clicked for him yet, and I think it's going to start clicking in the next few weeks, as far as what I would expect to see from him, as far as from what we were seeing in training camp, hearing from training camp, the things that I've seen him on the field already as far as routing guys up and things like that. He actually got to show it in this game. And he's got a bright future, man. And then, you got to see another Luke McCaffrey impact, man. Cliff Kingsbury had a very good scheme design. You can nitpick on you fumble the ball in the pistol when it's 3rd and 1, you're, whatever. Dude, it is what it is. We run the pistol 70% of our snaps. So, to say that, you can't run the pistol in that situation there, that's what this team does. So take away the identity of your team and you start nitpicking one little situation because it didn't work and it had a negative impact when 98% of the time it works fine. You're just nitpicking. It is what it is. Would you maybe want to see them go under center? Who knows? Did they get it because they're under center? Who knows? Did they fumble the snap off under center? Who knows? You coulda, shoulda, woulda. It's the Russell Wilson at the goal line in the Super Bowl. You should hand it to Marshawn Lynch, but you don't know. Dude, you don't know. It wasn't the play that was called. You execute the play that was called. These players get played to execute. We were in the game. We lost the game. It is that simple. And it doesn't have to be anything more, anything less than that. That's the Jalen Lane play that I was talking about right there. It's just teams shooting themselves in the foot, man, and that's really what I'm noticing about this team. If you told me that we won every game after this point, I wouldn't be surprised. If you told me we lost every game from this point on, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a 1-week schedule every week in the NFL, and this team has shown that they should be in it against any opponent. It doesn't matter the opponent, whether it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, whether it's who are playing out of their mind with Baker Mayfield, MVP level play. Jaden Daniels can run tit for tat with that. This team can run tit for tat with that. Would they do it this week? Not playing like that. They probably get blown out the way that they played this week. Could they run it last week? Yeah. So, realistically, every week is its own entity, and we just got to be better on each and every opportunity for this team. Bill's going to Bill's going to be a really good running back in this league. It's very evident. He gets way more yards above expected. The yards after contact are there. The Bears were selling out. They were selling out. And like at the end of the day, there are no excuses. There are no more victories. You have Terry McLaurin in this game, you put that game away. It's that simple to me. It is great to see Jalen Lane. It is great to see Luke McCaffrey get their due. It is great to see that hard work paying off for these guys. It is great to see these guys having big-time moment impacts because that's what you drafted them for, and that's what you're developing these players for. It's for the future, and it's nice to see us be able to do that. But at the end of the day, you don't win the game without the horses. They're coming off a bye week. They were fresh. They look fresh. We looked like a team that maybe rode a little bit of the high from coming back from the Chargers. We were over in California. We had to come back this week, Monday night game, after the kind of taste in your mouth that you left on the Green Bay game. Right now, we got a lot of primetime games on this schedule, and so far in primetime, we're not looking like a primetime team. And that's what we are. That's what we are to this point. Can that change next week? Very possibly. We have another opportunity. The Dallas game is in primetime. So can you execute in primetime? Can you win your matchups? Can you beat the Dallas Cowboys? That's what it is going forward. It's not, can we beat the Cowboys and then beat the Chiefs and then go in this run? No, it's none of that. It's 1 week at a time. It's the Dallas Cowboys are next. The Bears got the best of us this day. Hats off to them. They're going back to the Windy City. They got a hell of a division that they're going to try to compete in. Caleb Williams looks good. He was a good player coming out of college. He should look good. He looks more composed. He's still got some lapses, but he played good enough to win this football game. And hats off to him. He's a local kid. He came back home. I think he was a lot more settled than he was last year. There's clearly a different coaching staff in that building. They execute at a much higher level. They keep composure on that sideline. They won the game. Hats off to the Bears. It's not really a rivalry for me. I just think we've played them consistently a lot the last couple seasons. We've literally switched, it's they win, we win the next year. They win next year, we win next year. It's like, it's just is what it is. We got to be better. We got to execute better. The truth is, guys like Terry McLaurin being out, we need our guy back. Everybody can talk about Deebo Samuel being, the best player on this team, and he is. But I want both. I don't just want Deebo to be the best player on this team, on offense. I want Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel to be the best player on this offense because we have both of them. It doesn't have to be this guy or the other. It's not it is a competition, but at the end of the day, we're not competing for reps. We're competing to win. We're not competing against each other to beat each other. We're competing to beat other teams. And for this team to be the best version of itself, you want Terry McLaurin back. You want 1-7. If you told me, honestly, I'll keep it 1,000 with you. If you had told me that Terry McLaurin was going to miss 3 games of the first 6, and you told me that we were, 1-2 in them games without him, I would say makes a lot of sense. If you told me that we were 1-2 in those games where we probably shot ourselves in the foot, came out, didn't even play the first quarter, and had a lot of turnovers in those games and things like that, and you told me that we had a chance to win each of those games at the end, I would say you're probably crazy. I don't think this roster is good enough to overcome them type of things, but we've continued to show that we are good enough. So the sky is the limit for this team. But again, you got to win this week. This week is Dallas. So it's Dallas week. Either way, there's no letdown for the excitement, man. You get over it. You take your black eye. You lick your wound. You get up and get back to work, man. There's a lot of stuff to be excited about with this team. Every game is its own thing. It's very easy to ride the wave and get all upset because we lost by a field goal in a game that we should have won. Yeah, it's very logical. It's a very logical outlook on it. But let's get 1-7 back. Let's go into Dallas. Let's start it over. Clean some things up on defense. Stop turning the damn ball over on offense. I think you're looking at a win. But you got to do those things. You got to execute those things. Critical moment football, man. Big time players make big time plays in big time moments. And so far this year, we've had players step up in those big time moments. And we've also had big lapses in these big time moments, man. So at the end of the day, we're going to have to execute better. It just is what it is. And I hope to see them execute better. I know this team is coached well enough to execute better. Um, I will always say this. I will continue to say this. You've heard me talk about getting Jalen Lane more reps. You've heard me talk about giving, Ben Sinnott more reps. Jerzon Newton. For everything anybody wants to say about this defense not tackling and things like that. Well, let me tell you, man. There's three guys. Actually, there's I would say five guys on this defense. Five guys on this defense that are playing legit football, like legit football. Trey Amos, and then everybody else is up front. Frankie Louvu is playing A-plus football. Like, realistically. He's not missing tackles. He swarms all over the field. He's not even being asked to play the same concepts that he was playing last year, and he's still having an impact on the field. They're not letting him fly around and just make the freelance plays. Like, they're keeping him more in the box. They're containing him. He's still having an impact. He's setting the tone. He's a really good player. Jerzon Newton, man, this dude is coming around. I see why they picked this guy with that priority pick in the second round, man. He looks really good. This Jerzon Newton is starting to come off that line. He's really blowing things up, man. He just has this really subtle get off where he gets kind of sideways in the gap and then he explodes, man. He's a very explosive defensive interior player. He's going to be good for a long time. And then Javon Kinlaw and Deron Payne, man, these guys are really, really good football players. They're very, very stout on the inside, man, but at the end of the day, we need better outside play. Dorrance Armstrong is doing his thing, but that's one guy. You need other guys to step up. We've had injuries at the edge position. So, there's plenty of things that you can look at and say, that can make this thing better. And, until we start to do those things, until we get those type of pieces, I think Preston Smith will get a little bit better as the season goes along. Hopefully Dorrance Armstrong and his hamstring, it doesn't make him miss a bunch of time. We'll see. But at the end of the day, we just got to get better. We got to get better with talent on this roster. That's why I don't want to make no trades. Yes, maybe an edge player does help us a little bit as, for the rest of the season, but it also hinders what you're going to do long term in developing this roster. That's why I don't make any of them trades. That's why I don't even entertain it. You've given up enough assets for veteran players to, kind of patchwork this roster. But the long-term health of this organization is going to be built in that draft. And when you look at the draft and you look at the amount of edge players that are coming out in this year, you got Ugalele from Oregon. You have TJ Parker from Clemson. You have Cassius Howe from Texas A&M. You have Ruben Bain Jr. and Akeem Mazador from Miami University. You have so many edges in this class, man. Like, realistically, dude, I want that guy. I don't care which one it is. I want the guy. I want the guy that they're going to draft. I want the guy that they're going to put the jersey on with the first pick, their top pick in this draft. And that's the guy I want. I don't want Trey Hendrickson at 31. I don't want Max Crosby at 31. Like, I love the players. Give them all the respect in the world. They're hella really good football players, man. They're A-plus football players. They've been amazing and faces of their franchise. I want our face of the franchise on the edge position. That's what this team deserves. That's what this roster needs. I don't want to give up that asset to get one of them guys for a 3-year rental. We just did that. We got Laramie Tunsil. We're going to give up that same amount of picks or more just to get a Max Crosby or a Trey Hendrickson or a Trayvon Walker from Jacksonville or a Philip Daniels from Miami. You're going to give up all these assets. You're going to have to pay these guys. And the truth is, you can draft your own in this next upcoming draft. That's why I don't make any of that trade. We need better linebacker play as a collective. Bobby Wagner is what he is at this point. He gets the season, dude. At the end of the day, like whatever this team does, good or bad, he gets this defense where it needs to be. Do I want to see Jordan McGee play more? Of course I do. Will he play more? Of course he will. As the year goes on. But if you continue to burn yourself on down and distance, you continue to fumble the ball on offense, you continue to turn the ball over on offense and not capitalize on scoring opportunities, it's only going to go so far. So at the end of the day, control what you can control. Stop trying to do too much. Win your matchups, play your position, and do the best you can as a unit, man. This team's just not playing. Our wins, we've played four-phase football: coaching, special teams, offense, and defense. When we have lost the game, it has been defense here, offense there, special teams have been really consistent this football year, man. I mean, hats off to special teams, man. They have looked really, really good. They've been executing. They keep the ball in their hands. They catch the ball. They make good yardage after the catch. I mean, they're impacting at a good clip. Nothing I can say bad about the special teams. I mean, they've had their moments. I mean, the field goal kicking is bad, but I mean, dude, that's you can have all the special teams coaching in the world. If a field goal kicker is off, a field goal kicker is off. And whatever who knows the rhythmic football god juju that you need to fix a field goal kicker. I don't know what it is, because honestly this team has struggled with field goal kickers forever. Would I like to draft one? Yes, but of course you can look at Jake Moody, came from the San Francisco 49ers. He's so up and down, but he made the game winning kick yesterday for the Bears. You just never know. You never know if it's drafting a player and it being their first stop, their second stop, or their third stop. The kicker algorithm of the world, the matrix for the kicking game is just it's beyond me. I don't know what it is, but it's plagued this team for a long time. Trustway is a really good player. He does a good job in the punt game. The special teams are not something that I worry about long term. I think we have the ingredients that it takes on special teams to compete. I think we have the ingredients on offense to compete. I think there are a couple upgrades that you need to have throughout, but realistically, I think week in and week out, from what I'm seeing from the offensive line, they're good enough to win. Getting Sam Cosmi back against Dallas will be huge. Defense, I mean, it was going to take time. When you make Jaden Daniels your priority pick, you got Jerzon Noon and Mikey Sanford. Those were two critical pieces. Jordan McGee is going to be a critical piece moving forward. Javonte Jean-Baptiste, for some reason, just continues to get hurt. As a 7th rounder, you don't even really expect the impact that you've seen out of him when he is on the field. But again, availability is an asset, and he's struggled to give us that so far. But realistically, man, for everything that this roster has, they've played pretty much to what I've expected from this team from this season, with everything that's happened and transpired in the games, man. When you turn the ball over, you're going to lose, and it is what it is. And we still had a chance to win. I think this team is better than what they've performed. I think ultimately we're going to see from Dallas. We're going to see what this team does. We're going to see them bounce back. I'm sure they will bounce back. That's not an aspect of this team that I worry about. I think Dan Quinn always has this team prepared. We're in every game. Dan Quinn can't hold on to that football. Joe Witt Jr. can't. He can't make a guy miss an open field. Make an open field tackle. Dude, he puts the players in the position. Defenses give up yards. It is what it is. Every defense gives up yards. The Bears were giving up yards to us. We were giving up yards to them. They capitalized on turnovers and forced mistakes, or we forced mistakes, and they capitalized on them. When it was our opportunity to do the same, we didn't execute. So it is what it is. That's not on Joe Witt. Players were in position. They didn't make the play. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. On offense, I'm not going to knock Cliff Kingsbury. Does he do everything that I want him to do every play? No. I mean, dude, no coordinator will. No person will. We're all humans in at the end. But I promise you're not going to call a better game for Luke McCaffrey to get that open, man. That's coaching. That's true. That's a true eye for knowing what to call in situational football. The Jalen Lane play, it's knowing what to call in situational football. It's taking the clips, watching the film, knowing what they did in a certain setup before, and then taking advantage of it the next time you see that set. We did those things. We did everything. We coached every opportunity to make a winning play, and the players didn't execute when it came down to it. Jaden Daniels, he looks healthy. I mean, he's a good player. I mean, he's everything you could want from the quarterback position. Like I said, I'm not going to harp on this team, too much. I'm not going to sit there and crush them for, losing a game that they should have won. They know they should have won this game. They know they could have won this game, but ultimately they lost. They're 3-3 right now. You are what your record is. It's on to Dallas, and Dak Prescott's playing good football. Your offense is going to you can't turn this ball over against this defense. If you give Dallas extra opportunities, they will run your ass out the building with the way Dak Prescott's playing. George Pickens, kind of a dirty player, but excellent football player, makes catches. Very exciting to watch. We'll see what happens. He was very dirty when we played Pittsburgh last year. A lot of cheap shots, little things like that, pushing on the sidelines, extracurriculars, whatever, man. That's just who he is. You're going to have to prepare for it. You're going to have to keep your head. So I look at Marshawn Lattimore, keep your head. Don't let him bring you into a penalty. Execute your position. Do your drill. Trey Amos, he's playing really, really good football. I mean, rookie, veteran, whatever. This guy is. I mean, he's pretty damn close to lockdown as a rookie. I mean, he's excelling at the cornerback position. He's even exceeding the expectations that maybe I or himself would have had for him. He's looking really, really good now. If he can start making some of them plays where he's getting them hands on them balls, like he was, at Ole Miss, where he starts to get the turnovers and things going forward. If you're constantly in position to make the play, eventually you start making the play. As a rookie, it takes a little bit of time. I expect Trey Amos to start making these plays, so I expect maybe a couple more turnovers from that guy. Number 23, he's a really good player on this defense. Future stalwart going forward, man. He's going to be everything that this team envisioned him to be. Completely worthy of a first-round pick, if you ask me. So again, Chicago gets this one. Hats off to them. It's on to Dallas. I'll get my, look ahead to the Dallas game, at some point this week. Kind of going out of town, so it probably won't have this background. It won't be from my office, but I do appreciate you guys sticking around for the Blue Chip Podcast. This is a tough one to go into Tuesday, but it is a short week. It's Dallas. It's going to be another primetime game. Teams got to show that they can win in the primetime. They got to show that they can rebound. Will they? I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll be ready. Will they win the game? It's up to them. So again, thank you guys for checking out the pod. Really do appreciate all the support, man. I appreciate the views, the likes, everything like that, man. It really does make it feel like this is all worth it to me. I put a lot of time, put a lot of effort into this. I watch a fuck ton of football. So again, sorry, pardon my language, but again, thank you guys for checking out the Blue Chip Podcast, man. Have a blessed finish to your week. Let's go. It's Dallas week. Peace.